What's up, everybody? Nick Blazer here. I'm going back and doing commentary here for a match from the Cherry Blossom tournament that I didn't get to watch or commentate at the actual tournament. And after the match, Victor was telling me this was one of the grossest beats he's seen, kind of in the end of it. And it seemed well worth checking out and doing something with after the fact. I don't know. Someone that's been playing as long as him and everything like that too says this was a really absurd one. I got to see that. So I don't know exactly how it went or what happened or anything like that. So I'll get to be surprised with it too. But I figured a fun way to do it would be to just watch it and do the commentary on it and add the XG feed to it for us too. We can peek at what the winning chances are and just how bad it was too. But yeah, it should be a fun one. So without further ado, I will start the video. This is coming from the USBGF backgammon page from our streaming that weekend. So I'm pulling this out of the middle of the live feed. You can see it's at about 5.5 hours in. I don't know if they'll separate out the videos into matches at some point. I think Ben had talked about doing that too. But yeah. So Victor Ashkenazi playing the black checkers on top, and Kent Goulding playing the white checkers on bottom. And I think ultimately Victor goes on to win the Masters jackpot here too. Spoiler alert, I don't know. It's after the fact. Get to deal with it. Yep, usually after a slot, when we can make 2 points like this, we like to do that. But like a 3-1, for example, we would choose to hit instead. 6 is going to cover, and then what else is there but to play down with it? Okay. 5-4 cannot split, but it can extend the prime. So easy stuff for Kent so far. Even race, so both of them under a decent amount of pressure to get those back checkers moving. I expect Victor will take this chance after covering the 9 to split. And yeah, that just being out of time behind priming structure for both of them is going to make it more important to split, more of a factor than the 10 or 11 in the zone that they're dealing with for sure. 5-3, I guess it could split, but look at this. I might have thought that was important too, but I guess he's got the better prime and under less pressure, so he doesn't want to open up the attacking game plan right now. That makes a lot of sense. With his bar points, he's got the easier plan that way. But Victor anchors up, and that means that Kent will definitely need to split now. So he can cover the back and split. Yeah, a little awkward to give up the midpoint, but when Victor is stripped out there too, even if he hits, he has to give up the outfield control too. So we're not risking as much as usual. And I believe he will take the opportunity to hit there. Don't know what the best 2 is along with it, but I guess we just want to sort things out in some way that's going to allow us to make the bar point. And what I like about this suggested 13 to 11 is now it's 5s, 4s, 2s, and 1s. And it unduplicates, it diversifies from our 6s that we want to hop out with from the 21. Nothing really going to leave shots from the bar either way too, so that's not really the tactical consideration in this one, I wouldn't say. Yeah, I wonder what else he sees here. Why it would be, I guess, when our opponent enters on the 4 point, I guess we do want to be poised to attack there. And so maybe he's considering whether or not he wants to step 12 to 10 so that he has a way to prevent the advanced anchor, I guess would be the idea there. And what does Kent have here? Very even game for both of them, I think. This could anchor on the 22, but it would be primed. Does that buy enough timing? He just goes for maximum flexibility here. Okay, yeah, a little bit better to anchor up instead and not allow the attacking game plan. He's got enough time with the back checker. Interesting dilemma there, though. And Victor is going to punish that one by pointing on head. And Kent still with plenty of life in this game. Ace-6, yeah, no 6s other than hopping out, so he's going to make a bid for freedom again. I think that's the idea with the 3-1 initially, is he feels like he's just running all the time anyway. 5-3 is definitely going to hit off the edge. And then does it want to stay there to try to cover it later or just clean up? It's a lot of returns from the bar, so I think I like the cleanup, yeah. 2-5 is going to try again. And Victor, he keeps sending this checker back, but he's stuck behind a 5 prime meanwhile, so I don't think he has any interesting cube action here until he can fix that. And this is going to solidify the 5 prime. Only the 3-6 from the bar looks beautiful. 3-5 enters at the edge and has to bury a checker now, and this is the first big problem for Kent. Is that enough to find a cube now, even though he's behind the 6 prime? I guess the threat doesn't really seem to be closing out the 6 prime exactly. It seems to be that when something just kind of quiet happens, when Victor can play relatively safe here, that Kent now is very likely to start breaking his 5 prime in front. So before that just disappears, he's going to send it, and Kent's going to snap it up, though, and play that out anyway. Okay. Few too many gammons at stake here. 6-2. This is a bit awkward. It could pop out and clean up, I guess, is one idea. Pointing, though, so I don't think we tend to like to make the 2 point here because it gives up our perfect structure. We want to keep that perfect 5 prime with 3 checkers behind it. So I guess 9-3 looks like an idea too, but I don't love the 2 with it. I guess we could just continue 4-2, but this feels like it fits the priming game plan best. It's just leap and clean up and hope for the best. Yeah, so I like that play by Victor. Double 4s is going to turn into an attack for Kent. He can point on head and I think cover, but he could think about making the 3 point too. Maybe he needs some purity to bring this home. But it doesn't interact with the 9 after he does that. So I think, yeah, that's a tricky one. XG does prefer slightly making the pure structure instead, saying that he's going to need to rely on that to get home. 3-5 can just pop out for mobility. Sure, it's less shots to come out than staying back there, so I like that too. Aces are probably duplicated with numbers that he might like to anchor with anyway. 6-3. Yeah, can pop out and cover or lift. Yeah, sure. Seems reasonable. Still under a lot of pressure in this position. Victor would love to send another checker back with the 6. Can't do it, but he can make the 6 prime. So I think he'll go ahead and do that. And in the driver's seat, winning a ton of games, Kent looking to anchor up and buy time to bring that 3rd checker around to save some gammons. Yeah, Victor, I guess, is going to pause to think about, should I switch to the blitz to not let him do that? But I think this just wins too many games. And 3-2, he doesn't always get the safety. So he's just going to make the board point there. Yeah, can't really reduce shots anyway. All right. 4-1, can't hit again, but now it can hit twice. Yeah, I like this play now. We don't give up our structure. We're not too worried about being behind that 5 prime of Kent's. It's going to break almost immediately anyway. So we want to close these checkers out and win gammons here. I like this play by Victor. 4-3 fans. That's a good start for Victor. And 6-5. We have a dilemma between hitting and covering, but I think we have a lot of time to hit later with 2 up. Can't see the 2 checkers on the bar there. So I think covering's better, but he could make the 2 point too. That's an interesting option. I don't think we need the purity, and he can buy time to get off this if we play like that. So I like this with 17-12, lots of numbers to hit the other checker. Yeah, this looks very nice. And so he can have problems closing out the 2, but seems unlikely. He's got lots of time to do it. Happy to hit loose as soon as Kent enters. And meanwhile, he's just picking up a 3rd blot and such. 2-1 is going to pick up that 3rd one. I think that's more important than diversifying for the closeout. But yeah, look at that. 8-6 is an idea. Just make sure we have maximum numbers to hit on the deuce if our opponent enters there. Surprised how close that is. Always impressed when players like Victor pause to think about that too. It does reflect like a few more gammons there. Yeah, I mean, they're super close. It's just, it reflects the priority of not letting our opponent anchor. Like, that's how he's going to save all the gammons. Picking up the 3rd checker is going to help somewhat, especially if he does get that deuce point anchor. But the best way is just to close out. And with 2 up and a decent amount of pips outside, he doesn't even need to actually pick up that 3rd checker necessarily to win this gammon. So, yeah, impressive stuff. I mean, one problem, if he steps this way too, I was going to say he gives up double 6s to close out. He does still give up double 3s, I think, this way, tactically. But so it's an interesting thing when that's 0.6 away, helps you close out more than you might think in a lot of cases. So we can just shift 12 to 8 and get all those numbers back. I like that. Doesn't get double 2s yet if there's a way to do that, but interesting. He gets double 3s by entering, but he has that either way. Yeah, I'm not really sure why 6-5 would be better. I like this play. And 6-4 is going to close out. Beautiful roll. And Victor cruise into an early 4-point lead, it looks like. Yep, we like to keep our checkers on the high points as we enter in. Make sure we're not leaving double sixes anywhere. This is going to bring 2 in, and then usually the safest is just continue 5 to ace, I think, here. Maybe why would 7 to 3 be a little bit better here? Interesting, or 6 to 2. Yeah, I'm not really sure about these plays. I don't think I would find this one. This looks very even on the outside, though, so can't be too bad. All right, clears the 6-point, leaves a couple sets that will leave shots. Looking to clean that up now. And definitely if he leaves a shot, Kent can win this still. Has pure enough structure. Yeah, I think oh, interesting. I really like smoothing out 5 to 4 here because it leaves the 6-5, but it plays long term so much better. Common theme in the bear off here that we're happy to volunteer that single or those 2 shots for long term flexibility. 4-2. Yeah, so it would have got a checker off the other way and not had 2 stacked on the ace. But now it just has to play for safety for sure. And 2-3 is just going to keep clearing from the rear. I think Victor, all he has to do is not be hit to win a gammon, basically. Tough for Kent to run off this, so it doesn't have too much to worry about. And it's working. I don't think he needs to... Doesn't look like he's going to have a position where he wants to think about backgammons too much. So Kent probably hoping to just enter really big now. Yep. Okay, pops in and out. Could have gotten a little bit different distribution. When you come in on the 21, I guess it just gives more numbers that you can like make crossovers with. So just looking for ways to diversify. 5 is out and 1 is in. Sure, that looks good. Another 2 off for Victor. So he's 4 rolls away. Looks like Kent is more. Probably going to need doubles. 4-3 makes a perfect crossover to the 12. Yeah, 2 crossovers that is. Another 2 off. Yeah, just 1 extra crossover for Kent, but some of them are pretty big. That is a nice roll to keep giving him hope. Interesting. I for sure would have played the 12 to 6 with the 2. I'm not sure why both from the back is best. 3-5. Those are hard for me to figure out and calculate. Oh, XG thinks that on this play that he can win 0.02% of games. That's funny. All right. This one makes sense to me too. Not sure why 7 to 3. Maybe there must be like sets he needs to play for, like double 2s or something like this. Oh, Ken tries to take his double 2s there. 2-1 fans. And that's going to be a gammon. That's a good play. He just asks if he can, offer Victor one extra pip in the race there. Maybe everyone agrees. All right. Some adjustment to the cube here. For sure, Ken should be wanting to make the deuce point, I think, here. But split is a close candidate. We like making the deuce point anyway, but when we're at trailing scores, the gammons it introduces are very nice. This does introduce like volatility for sure, and kind of a lot of these hitting back and forth. So I think a lot of players prefer it for that reason, that maybe it feels like it's going to complicate the game a little more often. And really just the liability of having the deuce early is a lot to handle. But enters and hits off the high point. Pretty standard opening game stuff here. 4-2 is going to enter and hit back again. No one coming out with a big advantage yet. Kent hits back with most things from the bar. That's one of them. He could think about hitting on the 5-point as well. But yeah, I think sending the third checker back is more important. Staying even in the race, things like this. 3-6. That hits back for Victor. No one's missed yet. This one's going to be harder. Kent looking for a loose hit on the 5. Can't find it. But he does get to establish an anchor. Oh, he can hit out in the outfield. Yeah, this looks much better. Okay. Making the 21 was the first thing that jumped out at me. I forgot the 4s hit from 13 to 9. 5-2. Doesn't look like it hits here either, but less checkers back. I think Victor is ready to start simplifying this game. So I love making the anchor, and probably just the simple 23 to 21 to just not get another blot involved, I would think. Double sixes. So this is going to take over the race for Kent. So how can he play this safest? He's stuck back on the 23. Yeah, I guess there's nothing else in this. It seems like an improvement, but needs to get those checkers on the 23 point moving quickly. Would like to link those up with the bar. But Victor gets to hit here. And the 3, I guess, I don't think we want to create a 5 stack. So what else can we do, though? It seems like a lot of shots otherwise to do this. But yeah, okay, the flexibility is worth it. Yeah. That's a tricky one. I guess the blot back on the 16 isn't in danger, so I like that. And it's also, if he gets hit, most of the time it'll be from the bar point that Kent's not really ready to give up. So I do really like this 13 to 10 after all. Looks pretty good. We got to do something to start making structure to bring this home. Nice find by Victor. And the 3-1, so it can hit. I think it's early enough with no anchors that it's worth giving up and hope to reestablish it later. Nice find by Kent. Double 2s. I don't think it's worth spending our whole roll to hit on the bar. So I would be making the 4 point and figuring out my last deuce. Oh, we could also hit 16 to 10 is another way. But probably, I guess we don't really want to give him good 6s. So 16 to 14 has some merit. But maybe I would think just 23 to 21 is the first thing that jumps out at me. Yeah, so he goes with that 6s idea, I guess, and chooses tactics there. Pretty close stuff. And looks to be rewarded here. 6-2. I guess 6 is somewhat duplicated with reestablishing the bar point, though. I think we're going to see Kent do that here. And then the 2 is just happy to slot behind. Okay, interesting. Not too far off. I'm not sure I would have found that one since we're outboarded here. 6-1. What can this do? I think we're just playing simple now. I guess he doesn't have that big of a racing lead, but instinct is just 14 to 8 and 23 to 22 to see the light. I don't see a lot more that we can get away with. He could cop out and provoke, but I think most of the numbers that hit, there's going to be a lot of numbers that can cover as well. So it just feels a little too big to go with the 2 blots here. But look at this. He should. They're super close ideas here. Yeah, and it actually, okay. So slightly better to just clean up, but definitely understand the dilemma there. Nice find by Victor. And the 6-2 is going to get to cover. And then the 6 probably coming around to challenge. What else do we have? Doesn't like it when he gets so he doesn't want to give the 6 to escape with tempo. But sending that checker behind is kind of permanent here. We still leave shots in the outfield. So I think it just gives up a little too much. 5-1. Victor's not able to get the checker on the 22 moving. He's looking to as well. No good ace here. So where do we want to put it? If we slot 6 to 5, yeah, this is an idea. It makes our board worse, but what else do we have here, though? I can't find a 5. So, I mean, I guess our ace, we'd like to play 6 to 5. We could play 13 to 12 and leave a double shot and then also bury to the ace. Like, everything else is just so bad that I guess this minimizes. Yeah, the 13 to 8 and 6 to 5 is something, but it's a stack of 5. It just, the distribution looks so bad that I like his instinct to just do anything else, find something to slot. And it's a weird one to slot and a weird point to make. But, yeah, one of these just like best of bad options kind of plays. I don't see a lot of tactics that really incent me to do either. Like, this leaves a deuce and slotting the 5 is going to leave a 3. Not a big difference there, I don't think. Nice find by Victor. This leaves our distribution best afterward. 3-1. It could hit, but it leaves a double shot. We do have a better board now. I don't mind it. But just playing around and challenging the 6 from the anchor seems fine too. Either one. I don't think I want to split 23 to 20 here. So I'm probably deciding between 15 to 11 and just the loose hit 7 to 3. Look at that, though. It is splitting in 15 to 14. Duplicates some 2s to cover. Okay, okay. Nice find, Kent. Yeah, he's really lacking mobility, so that's the reason we need to look for that one. He's got like way too much timing tied up on that 23 point in a close mutual holding game. 3-6 for Victor. What can this can come around from the anchor and hit, or it can just run and keep all the structure. Or it can cover. Yeah, okay, okay. Covering the offensive point must be great. 4s. This can cover the deuce and hit loose. That's got to be it. What else can we do? I mean, we can also look at pointing on the 3 and finding the rest, but I mean, we don't need to hit loose. We can just pop out. Yeah, I guess he does have a slightly better board. It feels weird to just come out and volunteer the 4 against a good board. Like, I would want the upside of hitting. But I guess it just must not actually, like, accomplish that much. Okay. Nice find by Kent again. I guess maybe part of it is that we don't mind our opponent having to play to us. They don't have that many productive rolls here. 3-2 is likely going to step up for mobility. And then I don't feel the pressure to slot here, so I'm going to do something ugly like 6-3, I think. I think our position can hold that. That's a tough decision, though. Very tough decision. Gammons both ways when we slot. Okay, it is slightly better to go for the long-term gain of that. I guess when we look at the 3s that hit for our opponent, there's not a lot else that he's doing with it. And we still have an anchor, so 3s and 1s cover gives us something to do next time. That's a tricky one. It's just so permanent to play 6-3. It's like we might never make our 5 point after we play that way, so I can see why it should feel difficult to play behind. Not too much at stake either way, though. Just bringing more gammons into the game. Could be that this is closer because of the score as well. We can see that Victor wins 3% more gammons and fraction more games. It only gives up 2% gammons in exchange. So it seems like the trade-off would be at least slightly more clear at a normal score, but he's leading, so I guess he doesn't want gammonish positions too. Getting a little bit punished by the gammon tax here. Nice play. And Kent misses. What can his 4-1 do? Yeah, probably not a lot, but just run around. Duplicates the 3 to cover. Okay, okay. That's an idea. Seems like... I'm not sure why this is so big. Yeah, because, I mean, we don't really want him to escape with tempo with the 6 either. Not sure. Maybe we do want to be hit on most of our 6s is the idea. Like only 6-1 and 6-3. Guess this would be like lifting as well. What is this going to do now? It can cover and leave a double shot and have a 4-point board. He's got a blotting board too. Otherwise, we're just coming out to a single shot. It will be kind of effectively a double shot since we have a blotting board as well. This is an idea. It feels like if we're going to go for something aggressive, like the play would be to just make the best 4-point board. So... yeah, I mean, like this, when he misses, well, you still have an open 5-point and an anchor to contend with the whole way. It just doesn't look like much. So when in doubt, you just make that perfect 4-point board, and then when there's contact and when you're hit, you always have that like asset to deal with in this game, which is going to be very strong. Getting some tricky decisions in this game for sure, though. Yeah, this must be an option, but it's still volunteer shots. It still has that issue that we tried to avoid before when we slotted of like maybe we'll always have difficulty using that checker. When we're missed, the follow-up doesn't look great here either. We haven't gained a lot. So now it almost feels like the structural impurity maybe makes our opponent like a slight favorite or something like that. I mean, really, no, we're still a small favorite here. But it doesn't look good. Yeah, understandable, though. It does seem like a lot to volunteer. And doesn't allow his opponent to escape with tempo now. But the 3-1, I think even with the blotting board, he's got to try to hit in a close race like this. See how Victor performs from the bar here. 4-2 is going to fan. And what does Kent have now? I don't think this is enough to be anything. Still a lot of work to do, but has the advantage. 5-4 links up and covers. Beautiful shot. Oh, interesting. I would have for sure thought come up too, but he should bring the ammunition in or something. Oh, he wants to keep the bar point is the issue. Okay, Victor's going to hit back there. And a lot of volatility on this roll. I mean, a lot of numbers where Kent hits from the bar. If Victor fans, it could be over after that. But of course, when Kent fans, he's on the ropes to maybe lose a gammon, 6s or 4s, putting a second checker up, already 3 back on that 18 point. So it feels very close. Yeah, I mean, even at the score, I wouldn't be thinking, but look at that. It's just barely enough. Gets a fan. Okay. Well, good job to pause and think about that. That's a scary one. And now Victor, I think, has a much more potent cube in a position like this, I would think. But, oh, wow, at the score, he really needs to wait on it, though. Okay, better to just win a gammon with this big score lead. And he really fears the recubes in a volatile position like this. So 5-4 is going to hit, and then he brings the builder around, optional to come out instead. Both seem fine. 2-6, and we'll see. I mean, he must be winning a lot more here now. Does he want to start thinking about trying to cash this, or is he just playing through it? Nope. 21. Okay, it's not even cashable here yet by a long shot. Interesting. Yeah, I guess there's a lot of work to do against this 4-point board, but he's got a huge race lead. What can 6-2? Yeah, okay. Just solidifies the position. Now even when Kent enters, he has just a strong advantage here. And is this more one-way enough where he has the right wins to send it? I would think so now. And yeah, this is a pass for money. But it has this interesting effect where like a lot of the threat of the pass comes from these gammons. And I've found that with like significant score leads, like 4 points or more in a long match, a lot of times we the value of potentially getting to recube and get back into this tends to outweigh the risk of losing a gammon getting down another 4 points. They're just like the points are worth more to us than our opponent or something like this. So a lot of times the way you can look at this, if you can see that there's a lot of wins, if you can guess that you're around 69, 70%, you can ignore a lot of the gammons and take these anyway and play it out. And Kent correctly does that. Nice find by both of them. 5s. Okay, this is going to consolidate the race, but doesn't really get to continue on the blitz. And it's going to have to leave shots, I think. I think he's got to leave the blot on the 9 and just come all the way around to the 8. Look at this, though. He should... oh, yeah, he can play safe and clean up. Okay, why not? Yeah, and it's a spare on a new point. I like that now. Okay. 3-6 fans. Looking to point on head, and he does it. That's going to increase the gammons quite a bit, and Victor could go to a 8-0 lead in this match pretty quickly. Fours is going to close out the 5 point now, too. That's a huge improvement. Wow, it's almost, like, in this position, it's hard to imagine that the match ever got interesting. Looks like steamrolling so far. Double 2s for Victor here. I think he needs to prevent the anchor for sure. And then I don't think we need to start sweating so much that we should, like, clean up 3 to ace twice or anything like this. I think I would be happy to just play down to the 9 and 8 to 6 for covers or something like this. It can get risky when he rolls an ace, but we have 2 points center onto his 1, so I think we're going to be okay. Look at this. We should just go for the switch, though. Okay. Yeah, I guess once we get to bear off, this is going to help us quite a bit as well. That's an interesting one. It doesn't even win more gammons. It's just the priority here is just to not get hit on the ace. That is tough. And if he's already looking at it this way, yeah, okay, this is another way to accomplish the safety, but better. If we're going to start to play in pure, I can kind of see why the 5 to ace is better here now. I'd probably end up playing something like this that Victor's looking at here. But if we're going to find a safe play, then might as well clear a high point that could be difficult for the bear off later. I like that that logic anyway. But once you start by hitting 3 to ace, it's a little hard to see clearing the 5. So I think the order that he's doing this is actually going to slow him down a little bit and make it very unlikely that he's going to find the 5 to ace switch. Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty nice to just not leave any shots. I guess he's going to leave double threes when he plays the way that XG wants him to play, which is kind of interesting. It does. Oh, no, double fives would be. So, no, nothing. Yeah, I guess it's just a 0 shot kind of thing. All right. So usually this is going to work anyway for Victor, though. Gets the fan, most likely covering with 5s and 3s. 6-2 does not, though. This is going to come in, and what else can it do? I guess just something like 6-4 and get ready to clear. Why 11-3? That's a weird one. I don't know if I understand that. Yeah, I think I would have made Victor's play 2. They're almost tied. Some of those distribution plays are just I don't know how the bot calculates them. Those ones I definitely trust the bot on, though. I assume that it can see something that I can't. And yeah, Victor gets to even out on the outside. Very nice. Kent wants to roll. Just says okay. He changes his mind. 6-1 gets to clear from the rear. So we end up in this position that he avoided last time, where we leave a shot with 6-5, but then it's just very robust for taking checkers off for a long time. So like that 5 off, and then I think we want to stay even here. Yeah. Plays 3-2. No checkers in for Kent yet. Six 5 is 2 off. Yesterday's roll. And another fan. Okay. Must be like... Nah, not any real backgammons here. But they're possible, I guess. Okay, now we have some shot levers if Kent can stay out for a little bit. 4-1 does that. That's probably the best way to save the gammon in this position. I think he really needs to hit something. So he's got Victor with some chances of doing that. 6-2. Okay, there's going to be a lot of numbers next time now. If Kent can keep 1 in the air. And he does not. Going to save the backgammon at least. 3s is going to take a bunch off. And Kent is ready to resign the gammon. 8-0 lead. Wow. And we're going to head straight to 13 away, 5 away. I know they end up in some sort of close situation. All right, he's going to switch to the slot. I like that with the big score deficit. XG still generally with the 4-1 prefers the split. Because we already have such good building potential with the 9-point blot anyway. And usually after this, I would play 13-8 for distribution. But he wants to think about simplifying. Maybe, yeah, going for just more wins at the score makes some sense, but finds the right play after all. I guess maybe it would be DMP to just run. And so we do start thinking basically like DMP. Okay. Kent gets to hit back on the 5-point. And another early game blot hitting contest ensues. 3-2 hits back. And I think it's probably better with so many checkers back to make the anchor than to hit loose with another spare. But that's the dilemma there. Yeah, he locks up the permanent asset. And he doesn't need to attack as much because even if Victor gets to make the 20-point, with this big of a racing lead, he's going to want to leave it pretty early. So Victor's probably happier in general just escaping checkers at this point. So the fight for the 5-point on White's side of the board anyway is just less valuable than it used to be. I like this idea to come back off the 24 aggressively. I guess the 6-1 doesn't make anything that we want to make quite yet. Making the bar point could be fine. Just slotting 2 looks really nice too, though. I like that. All these options are very interesting. We don't really want to... It's hard to find like the all-in back game thing when we have the 24 and the 20 because it's just not a very strong double anchor game. We would like to improve it somewhere. What do we want to do with this? We could make the 3-point. I guess that's going to be best here. I don't rather have the 8 though, so I'm looking for some 3 with it, and I just don't see any 3 that I like. So I think it's like his play there. And only 29 pips in the race means that, yeah, again, like Kent is quickly going to be under pressure to get those 24-point checkers moving. 4-2, what can Victor do with this? He can play like really safe and step up and play 6-4 or something like this. Or he could put a checker in front of the 20-point and see if he wants to come off it. I don't mind something like that too. Both seem fine. Yep, prioritizing escape makes a lot of sense though. And a 6-5 for Kent. I think this is the kind of place where I just like, well, we have room to play 13-7, 9-4. So maybe that's best. I would not think of leaving the best anchor to link up here, but 24-13 seems reasonable too. Okay. 20-9, not too far off. But this is just the 9-point doesn't communicate with the 3-point. We give up our most valuable asset on the board in a game that rates to be long and require us to have it for contact. Victor just looking for simple plays. Yeah, I doubt that there's going to be anything better than just running around and hoping we get missed. And even when we're hit, at least our opponent hasn't used a 4 to make that anchor again. 5-3 gets to hit. 3, I guess, is just going to be down. Yeah, what else do we have? And with any threat of market loss, Kent needs to be sending here. Oh, he gets to, Victor is going to hit twice here. Wow. And bring a checker down for distribution. Looks beautiful. Huge shot for him. At 5-way, it's very tough in a gammonish position for him to find a threatening cube here. So where for this money, this is probably looking really great. I just don't think we can do it at this score even. Yeah. So probably a sizable pass for money, but he just needs to play on and not risk the other side. And as soon as it gets even better like this, like on a no entry, it'll probably just be more like too good or something like that. We'll see what he comes up with here. And this is actually, wow, these are such hard cubes to find. I mean, we've gotten up into that 72% win range where it's just kind of crushed. And if like, I don't know, our opponent can, if they can figure out to ignore the gammons and take this, you know, that's kind of, you probably get a lot of passes out of this. So that's some sort of reason to send this as Victor if he's really aware of the situation anyway. But I find these to be some of the most difficult ones to find. You know, we're only giving up 49 in equity to just never even think about this and just play on for the gammon. I kind of take that approach in my book, is that we should just simplify here. But, you know, at some point you've seen enough backgammon and you understand the rest of it that like you can spend some time learning these too. And it does have all the characteristics of something we would cube, where it's just very little like volatility in terms of wins for Victor, I would say. Like, of course, there's going to be some wins from a 24-point game with timing, but it's a very robust advantage. He has a perfect 4-point board or 3-point board, good distribution, all these things. It's going to be a long time till his opponent can like turn it around or anything like that. But okay, he rolls through. I think we're probably just playing simple, but there is a double hit here. Is there any reason to spend our checkers that way? I actually don't mind it, just because like what's going to happen on the other side, it takes a chance of just solving the game now. But yeah, he's just going to make the simple play. Makes sense. 5-4 is going to pop out and make an advanced anchor. And now, yeah, no cubes here. This is just, I guess this is why it was important to hit twice, is like our opponent can just end up in a totally fine position pretty easily. Look at this. He should actually play for distribution here again. Understandable why he's just trying to bring, you know, a race home and keep it simple, but that stack of 5 on the 4 is going to be a hard long term. But he develops one of them to the deuce point. That's a pretty big improvement for Victor. And pretty much anyone's game at this point. 5-3 gets to make the next point for Kent. Now he's got really great chances in this game. Got a nice advanced anchor holding game, and he can fall back on the 24 when he needs to as well. Double threes. Maybe switching to close the gap makes some sense here. Why do we want the 6 instead of the 3-point here? I kind of like 2 down and switching. Yeah, the 8-2 can be really tough to solve. Good job to slow down and think about that. And, you know, like if we don't ever remake the 6-point, that's really okay in this game. We have a massive racing lead. We just want to try to bring this home safely. See if we can pull the trigger on this. It makes the The spares on the 4-point look like less of a liability now. Now they can smooth out with aces or deuces a little more easily. Just looks more robust. And now, like, how are we ever using the checkers we have on the 10, 8, and 4 to make the 3-point? Feels like when we do this, we're just deciding that we're going to have a gap on the 3-point for the rest of the game, most likely. It'd be much better to have that gap on the 6. A gap on the 6 isn't really a gap. It's more of like a point cleared. Nice find by Victor. 4-2. Kent's just working on his structure. And what is this now for Victor? Does he really have good enough contact to keep playing this? I would not be certain about this. And it's getting where, if I would have thought the wins were higher, but we can see, even though that they're not, it's getting in this like less volatile kind of territory where we don't have to worry about the score quite as much and can find cubes here. 6s could keep all of our defensive structure in place for one roll. Is it worth it? We could just leave one checker there too, but then it gives them some aces to pick and pass to come in. I think I'm probably going to make the ace and play to the 3, but I don't know. Like, that impurity can really cost us long term. So sometimes it's better to just give up the 18 here right now. Look at that. We should leave one checker back is how we should do it. But I understand Kent's play. That's probably what I would have leaned towards. And XG seems largely indifferent because it's supposed to be just a double and pass now. Okay. And he's going to let it go. Less gammons, more wins. Easy claim. And we're going to continue on. No points for Ken still. 4 away, 13 away. And a 6-1 to open. Two 1 tends to like the slot in response. At this score can split though. Okay. At normal scores, I know we just want to catch up on like the advantage here that he's got somehow. It gets more important to build there. I like Kent's play here. A lot of times, like making the 11 to close it out, but a little bit better to just make the 5 here for more gammons apparently or something. I'm not sure. Those plays run pretty close. 5-4. What can this do for Victor? He's down in the race, so running not that attractive. He's against 11 in the zone, so I think probably a cube's coming here in a lot of scenarios, whatever he does. Maybe this is just the least worst. And this doesn't feel like, wow, I just saw the evaluation there. But I would never be thinking of letting this go this early. But with this massive match lead, he should just pass. Yeah, it's a reasonable money cube, and so he can adjust there to letting it go at the score. I like that with the massive match lead. Nice find by Victor. Easy one to make a mistake on, though. 6-4 for Victor. We start to make DMP plays, which is running. I like that. With this big lead, 3-1 gets to make the best point. See if Victor can follow through on escaping here and play a simple game. 3-2 at least gets to make the 11. That's a nice improvement. Playing a single checker back is pretty reasonable too, as long as he doesn't get trapped in, just waiting for an opportunity to run. And Kent with the board. That's a good thing to have when you're looking for volatility for sure. 5-1, I guess, gets to play down and step up. I think being on the 23 is okay here. We're a little bit sad when our opponent remakes the 8, but for now it challenges that blot and forces our opponent to do something with it. I like that play. 6-2. Yeah, when he rolls a 6, he's not so excited to hit loose there either. I think for lack of options he will, and bringing a checker down into the zone, and when he gets a fan, he'll be in great shape. When Victor hits, he'll have tempo to escape. 3s is right in the middle. I think it'll make the 5 and play down. Of course, he's going to be tempted to do something with that stack of 5 on the 6 point, but I think we just go for the better point here. Oh, we should give up the 11. I would not find that. It seems like still valuable to have that outfield blocking point. But the spare on the mid is somehow more important. Very interesting. 3-5. Yeah. So what are our options here? We can make the 8 or we can hit loose. Maybe the hit loose looks pretty good there. Yeah, okay. We have the better board still. We don't want our opponent to get to just run and escape. So 4-5 would have played quite a bit differently in the rollout of 1. 6-1. So it's a relatively close race and our opponent's escaped. I think we have to find some sort of split here. Coming out to the bar seemed tempting to put pressure on that blot too. But yeah, this way we get to make another board point. So okay. 3-1. This can make the 10 and spread out 6-5. Beautiful. And Victor, again, just with like a nice, robust lead and can definitely find cubes in a game like this, but not enough in the race to claim it yet. And generally is going to want to get closer to having won the game to send it. Doesn't want to deal with potential recubes at a score like this. 2-1 is a huge improvement. All right, only 4 pips in the race, but he has 2 back to 0 back. So this is like for sure we'd be sending this for money, and I'm not sure about taking. 4-2 is going to slide up and, yeah, go for the better anchor. I like that. So this is a tough one to pass up. Like I said, I think I'd probably be passing for money. So, or getting close to it. Okay, it looks like it's still a take. It is still a fine cube for just the robustness of wins and not that much volatility on gammons. But he's going to take a roll instead and not miss too much in doing so. And 4-1 he's going to roll. This can't do anything particularly safe. It could play 6-1 if we really want to go for that. We could just leave some fly shots by playing 10-5 or 11-6 with that Blotten board. They still look pretty painful. So maybe the best we can do with it is to play 6-ace and just kind of wait it out. I'm not sure. It doesn't feel good to just try to play a racing game, though, here either and let our opponent potentially escape or anchor. This is a tricky one for me. Yeah, we just miss out on some gammons, I guess, both ways, it seems like, when we don't go for something now. Or wins, really. Okay. So he does correctly find a play that will allow him to build a little bit more often, keep his checkers in play. The 5-4 is going to hit for Kent. Huge turnaround. And Victor going to need to hit with a 3, I think, just to stay in this game, most likely. Otherwise, the gammon threat is just going to be a bit too high to play, I do believe. 4-6 fans. And we'll see. I don't think... Wow, it's closer to too good than I would have thought, actually, too. So he optionally could have taken a roll. And I expect Victor will find a pass here. And there's 2 points on the board for Kent now. 11 away, 4 away. All right, so he's just going to slowly but surely claw his way back in. Five, 4. Oh, sorry, the other way. Yeah, we're splitting for Victor for sure, I thought. And we have a 4-2 response, making a point. And 6-1. Yep, going to make the bar point. Always tempting to escape instead, but having the asset long term just matters more than making a super stack, you know. 5-2 gets the split as well. Okay. Nothing more aggressive than Kent can really find with that roll. And 6-1, this time it looks like it'll escape. And Victor with a chance to get into a simple game again. Kent just gets to anchor and play down. Sure. I don't mind that. I'm not like desperate to make that one. I would rather have the checker on the 11 is the only reason I'd think about anything else. 4-1 can just bring a checker into the zone. Yeah, not great for distribution, but the plan is just to win the race and not get another checker sent back right now. 4-3. This is getting a little bit awkward. We have the better board. I don't think we're close enough in the race that I don't really want to volunteer anything, though. So I think I like this. Yeah. It's unfortunate not to be able to do something bigger, so we want to think about something like slotting the 5. 5-1 looks great for distribution. Optional to just come out and challenge all these strict points. I like that a lot, too. Aces is going to make a 4 prime. Okay, things are looking pretty good for Kent. Not enough racing lead for this to feel comfortable for Victor by any means. 3-2 gets to make a beautiful point, though, a 4 prime of his own. And so this looks to be a fairly even game, maybe even advantage Victor here. I don't see any cubes coming. Okay. Kent is ahead here with the threat of closeout and having the anchor. But he is under some priming threat here for sure, too. I guess it's so stacky that not really. So good on him to pause and think about it. 4-2. Yeah, just going to... The 10 isn't really serving us anymore, so he's going to turn those into builders. I like that. Giving up the midpoint made some sense too. Ace 5 is really going to want to advance to see the light here, I think. Oh, wow. I would have for sure done that too, but it brings us under too much attack. And we're not really in that big of a hurry, apparently. Especially given that we have to play a blot behind. 6-2 gets the point on head. And this could be decisive for the game on a fan again. 4-1. I don't know if that's enough to keep him in either. Ace is going to come in. 4 is going to play behind. And now he's primed with a single checker back under some blitzing attack threat. Can lose some gammons. This feels like a potent cube to me for Kent. Maybe not so likely that he's attacking on this roll or anything like that. So I guess there's actually not so much volatility here. But it just looks like a very weak position for Victor with 2 checkers out of play and everything like that. He's going to miss that cube. And we're coming back with a 5-1. So I don't think it's going to be better to run off of this. Doesn't feel great to hit either, though. I don't know. I guess we could hit and split or something like this too. But yeah, running is best. Okay. Yep, keeps his opponent primed. You don't really want to hit on the ace. Makes sense. And I guess, oh yeah, there's very little. Now this makes it look very clear because the 4 doesn't even want to hit with those 2 blots back. I think he just has to make some structure. I think the 4 point looks like massively good here. But stepping up and covering the deuce must be the idea of trying to escape to a winning race too. But it provokes a little more attack. I don't know. I think I'd go for the purity here. Does look like he's leaning that way. Trying to figure out who all we have watching. I see Candace walked up there, but the guy directly behind the camera and the one on the left, I don't know if I know their names. Maybe I just can't see him well enough. Julius High in the background there. Dennis Culpepper walking around all weekend. Does eventually decide on the long-term value of that 5 prime. And now Kent wants to think about whether he has a cube action here. Last time, I mean, the board was a lot weaker, but now he has a 6 out to just kind of have this game dominated. So I think it must be a fine time for a cube too, but it still looks pretty playable for Victor, even at this score. We get in a correct double and a correct take. No 6 to finish this out, but it can clean up the blot and play 6-5. So I think that's still a nice step in the right direction for Kent just to escape 1 checker fully. He should go for the switch, though. Wow, that really surprises me. I think I would have found his play, too. I think we like the checker to be on the ace because it's primed in right now. Would have been my logic for it anyway. 4-3 is not great. It has to give up a point, but it's ready to cover. And in this close race, he doesn't have to worry as much about keeping the structure intact and everything. This is a nice idea to be able to attack and hit loose next time. Maybe this could be better, even though it gives up such a nice point. It exchanges it for 2. So we go up 1 point. The other way, we just give up a point. So it's actually like 3 points that we're making by playing to the 2 and the ace. So I think actually I like that quite a bit. They're very close. It's just like, I mean, it's going to be very hard to ever salvage this purity again. But tactically, it's so nice, too, and our opponent's planning on running a lot of the time or maybe attacking us and things like that. 5s is going to complete a 6 prime, but it leaves some blots around. Bad news for Victor for sure, but maybe he can get away with like priming somehow, like 2 down from the mid. And if his opponent can't hop up with a 2 or a 6 for a little while, that's about the only hope left, though. 6-4 is going to squash that. And are there enough checkers outside to just close out now and go for the gammon this way? Probably. I think it's probably worth closing out. But the other idea is to keep the 6 prime, hop out, hope we get hit, recirculate, and pick up more checkers. Okay, he goes for that idea, yeah. Look at that. He was going to win 50% gammons if he just closed out now. I guess the 6 checkers outside in addition to the gaps on the 5 and the 3 make it harder to save the gammon too. Also, oh yeah, when he pops out, he's still challenging another blot that he can send back. Yeah, okay. So of course there's a ton of gammons there. And so Victor is going to want to just clean up that blot. That's going to save a pile of gammons for him. 5-6. I don't think there's any rush to hit or anything like this. Now he's got to go for the recirculation idea if he wants to win a gammon. So he's going to wait for Victor to crack a little bit here. 6 is going to create a dead checker. No shots, though. And crossovers is still just helping close out 2. 5-4 is going to hit loose, and I think he's probably hoping to be hit. 12 outside is like 15% gammons probably if we get a closeout here. Just hoping for something more than that. 2s, there isn't going to be anything to do but close out since we're primed back there. And now he does get to hop the 3' and avoid any major disasters. 2 is just coming all the way in. And Kent will be looking for bold bear-off plays. So I actually think maybe I would think about 4-3 here to try to win more gammons. And we can see it does, but it's not enough more to be worth it. Very interesting. But when we're right on that, like when we make more gammonish plays, I like this decision from him, even though it's a little bit off. I get the idea for sure. But yeah, he's just thinking about trying to be more likely to take checkers off more often because he needs to get a little bit of luck to win the gammon here. If he just plays safe, he's going to be very unlikely to win one. 2-1 can take a checker off as well. Again, prioritizing those gammons over the couple wins that it might give up. 6-3 is going to be a huge gammon save roll for Victor, though. Going to be tough for Kent to get off fast enough now, but 4s is going to make a big step in the right direction. And Victor just looking to spend all the pips outside, fishing crossovers. 3-1. Still going to need more sets for Kent here. 4-2 can play down and in. And Victor nearly off it. Looks like it's going to be 2 sets for Kent to get a gammon here. Aces is good enough. That'll make 5s or 6s to win the gammon next time. 6-1. All right. All rolls are going to save after this. Oh, he must have played a little bit differently at some point to get in with that roll. But okay. No big deal. 2-1. No gammon. And Victor going to resign a single game. And it looks like they're going to take a small break here, so I can actually... Wow, how nice is that to just be able to fast forward the video a little bit. But they are an hour into this match now. I don't think it goes too much longer than this either. I want to say it was like an hour and a half. We'll see how long of a break they take here too. Oh, I see him starting in the video. Kent's back and ready after just a minute or two. And we're going to come back at 9-away 4-way. 4-3 for Victor. We want to make more DMP-ish plays, so the split is better typically at these scores, but not by too much. He's going to go for the down. 5-2. Usually we want down in response, but 5-2 can be an exception where it's just like so weak to play down that we often just split instead, but kind of pick 'em things too, whatever game plan you like better. 6-1 is awkwardly going to make the bar now that we have everything there. Interesting close candidate to just split and cover the 9 instead. Given if we just look at this distribution for Victor, it's pretty weak. 6-5 can't do a lot, though. That is not a good response for Kent. 4-1 is a bit of a dilemma. We can hit or make the 5-point. Why do we both want to have... Yeah, we can hit and make the 9-point. It's just so much better. Sends a checker back. Wow, I'm surprised by how close those are. But typically when we can send the checker back, you know, it's going to be better. But I guess here we're doing this into stacks where, you know, we're going to allow our opponent to efficiently deploy all these checkers on the 8 and the 6, where otherwise they're just... Yeah, I don't know. Actually, does that even, like, change anything? I don't know. I don't think that's the relevant thing at all. But interesting play nonetheless. 2-1 is going to split. 3-2 gets the cover and step up somewhere for an anchor. Maybe the 24, the triple split looks kind of nice here. Both very close. Of course, he sees the light and vies for a better anchor this way. 4-2 is going to get pointed on head. I don't think there's any other options. Otherwise, anchoring would be nice. Doesn't leave too many fly shots from the roof either. And 3-1. Needs to split. And is it a triple split situation or 6-5 to avoid getting attacked too much? I still don't mind the triple split, but it looks a little loose here against 11 in the zone. Look at this, the 6-3 tempo hit. Oh, of course. That is very tempting in a position where our opponent's about to do like so much building like this. But it's so much to give up to come in on the 24 that, I mean, that's how much this position's calling for it, that we can think about it, that it's very close, even though we put a third checker, the illegal third checker on the 24. He's going to go for the tempo though. Okay. Makes sense, like the classic style kind of play, thinking this way and stuff too. I can imagine why Kent would favor plays like that. How does this leave him now too? Is he even favorite yet? I don't know. Not quite, but still, these kind of numbers are going to make him have to think about cubes pretty aggressively. 5-3 can't do anything about the back checkers, but it does cover the blot. 3-6 fans again. This has gotten much stronger. I still think Victor has a ton of play here, but it feels like, yeah, we need a volatility cube in a position like this, it feels like. This is very strong, and it's still going to be confusing to Victor with 3 checkers back on the 24, I'm sure. But is this looking dead enough? No, I guess with the anchor we can just run later, and our opponent has so much work to do off the 24 that I'm not too afraid here. But here comes the cube. And now it's very early, though, because you can see how much the gammons have dropped and the volatility on this play. All Kent's really looking to do is to split a checker off the back and get lucky and make the anchor. And if he gets there, then he has like a positionally dominated game. But he's not threatening to like close Victor out or keep him dancing anymore. So the dynamics of that cube just aren't the same. 2s, oh wow, that's a market loser. I think he's going to be glad to have sent it after that roll. We'll see what Victor follows up with like no timing stuck back there. Oh, a 6-1 is a huge shot. Sends the checker back, and he's a little bit scared against this 4-point board, but only 9 in the zone, 4 back. The blitz isn't too scary yet. And he gets a fan too. Wow. So this could like legitimately be the match in this game. There are some gammons for Victor in this for sure when he continues with an attack on that blot on the ace. 6-2, not going to do much in that vein though. Better to escape one checker completely or hop past the structure. I think I would just get one home all the way to the 9. Wow, and it actually wins slightly more to just run now. That's the DMP play, but it gives up too many gammons, too many returns from the bar. All right, what is 3-1 going to do? I guess the 22 and 23 like this makes a lot of sense to me too. The 24 on the 23 sees the light. I like that play. Not sure. I just don't want to do something so destructive as play 6-3, it feels like. But XG just prefers to have all the points and not allow our opponent to play so freely on this roll. Doesn't want to be pointed on head here, for example. But look at this. Victor should actually just run here. That's a tough one to find, too. I guess there just isn't a lot of room in the position for Kent to play, so we have a little bit more incentive than usual to let him. And we encourage him to try to play from the back checkers, where we kind of force him to deal with our escaped blot when we pop out. So very close ideas. 2's going to come in. I think we're going to keep the double anchor. Feels like we have to. And I'd rather, I think, give up the... I guess probably tactically we play 6-3 for one play here, but it's getting reasonable to give up the 10. Usually in a back game, we need to keep the midpoint for that timing bank for as long as possible. But our opponent is stripped in the midpoint too and not likely to hang on to it all that long. So once you get to that kind of last moment where it's not doing as much long-term good, that's the time when we can start to think about it. But here we have enough room to keep it once, and it's still doing some work against this blot back on the 24. So yeah, I think it makes sense to spend one last roll like this, and the midpoint's going next. 5-3 can't run. What can it do? It can clear the 9 points. I don't see anything else. Yeah. Three, 2. Yeah, I think we're coming off now. I don't see much reason to hit. I guess it makes 6s worse. Yeah, okay. There are some tactics to that. Sure. I think that does make sense in retrospect. Now our opponent must have some really bad entering 1s and 2s. Uncomfortable, at least. And if Ken can find a closeout, he can still win some gammons in a position like this, too. 3-2 probably just wants to come in for the cover. Oh, but it wants to come to the bar point. And yeah, okay. I was thinking 10-5, but he can go for a little bit more. And if he gets double hit, then he just has timing in his 2-5 back game. So yeah, the double anchor is going to allow us to play a little bit more bold here. And probably would rather make the bar point than the ace point anyway. 3-2. Yeah, we're out of time to do anything else, so he's going to go the big way. It's hard to play this bold when you don't have the double anchor anymore, so okay. It's like maybe a small overplay, but I like it. It's focusing on the upside and what's going to happen when things go well. Kent seems like he's having fun. Victor is focused. Ooh, ace-3 is going to hit 2. Okay. Maximum punishment for coming off the anchor, and we'll see if Kent can find a 5 to reestablish it. It's going to be huge for this game. Comes in on the ace instead. Okay, so a little bit of chance making that. Victor looking to blast away on those 2 points with just about everything here. 6-4, can't really do that, but it can hit the 2 checkers from the back. Yeah, that seems worth it. And now we just want to overtime our opponent in case they make the anchor so that they're not getting shots when we're clearing the bar point. But that is a pretty big roll for Kent to get to reestablish the 20. Gives him some chances here. And Victor not super excited to hit loose on the ace right now. I think he just needs to start finding ways to clear as quickly as possible. What is the best way to do that with the 6-2 here? I don't think we want to checker on the bar point when we're looking to give that up. We can't get a checker to the 3. That might be nice to have there to attack that ace when we get so lucky. So maybe I'm thinking just like maybe that 10 could go to the 4 and we could play around the bend or something like this. Oh, look at this. Making the 8 point is not something that I thought about. This 14-12, 10-4 makes a lot of sense to me. But we could also just play like 14-6. I just don't like the super stack of 6 that it makes. Interesting tactics in this position. Find it interesting how deliberate Victor is with his clock time, tends to spend all of it by the end of the match and everything, but I never feel like he's in time trouble. So, I mean, he's certainly down there, and I think, you know, like in a chess sense, we'd be worried about being this far down maybe. Yeah, the problem with this play, again, is that we put a checker on a point that we want to clear soon. So I think that's why we should not play 13-7. But yeah, in backgammon, it's not really a big issue to be like this low on time. You can always just play speed gammon and never use your bank again. The time controls kind of allow for that. Yeah, I like this too. Nice. He's going to look at potentially, and look at this actually on a higher play. It is best to make the 8 point like he was looking at too. Looking at all the right options. And settles on, yeah, this has good distribution when our opponent doesn't enter for attacking on the ace, I guess. So, but now there's like no need to attack on the ace. And we don't even want to with both the checkers in higher. So just looking to clean up here. 5-3 can get to the, I think we probably put 2 checkers on the 3 points. I don't think we want to come into direct range of that 6. Ah, we can play 7-4 and get ready to clear the 7 point instead. Okay, that also makes a lot of sense. Oh, I didn't even notice pointing on the ace. That's funny. Yeah, it just seems like, I guess that must leave 0 shots is like a compelling reason to do it, but it doesn't. No, it leaves a ton of shots from the bar. Yeah, I mean 5-3, 5-6, 2-3, 2-6. All are going to be there still. And it just doesn't really like. Getting rid of the contact on the ace isn't so valuable here. He's going to look at it, though. Oh, wow, okay. He gets trapped into that one. Not too far off. Doesn't really win very many more gammons either. So the 5-3 is immediately going to punish. He'll regret that one. 3-5 fans. And now, once again, there are some gammons at stake here for Kent if this goes well. 6-2 wouldn't have been a bad roll. Did he manage to throw the cup on the floor somehow? 5-5. Can this hit yet? No. I think we established the 15 probably, or maybe we want to slot the bar as well. I like having that 17 covering and trying to hit, but maybe shots from the bar are bad here. This is a tough one to figure out, really. But yeah, we maximize our ways to hit that blot later is what seems to be the idea. And our opponent buying the tempo of hitting from the ace is not that big of a deal. So yeah, I like that play. And it's not so urgent to get a checker on the bar. Ace 4. Oh, we also blocked this from moving forward at all. So still with the double shot to get that second checker in play. 6-4 hits it both ways. So 6 gets to pop out then, and we can hit with the 4. Yeah, that seems right, going for mobility there. We have great coverage of the bar points should our opponent enter and pop out. Ace 5 can't do it. Doesn't shake a blot loose yet, though, but things are getting scary for Victor for sure. Having the 24 point can save some gammons, though. It gives him some chances to roll a set and escape. Kent going to shut that down by blocking the bar point. 5-2. There's the last two spares. And now we're starting to crack for Victor. It's looking bad. 4-1 is just covering the outfield. Sure. Get ready to build the prime from the back. And 6-2, no 6. Oh, yeah. We do have a 6. Okay. So he gets to clear the rearmost points. Just leave a single shot. 6-5 gets to make the prime from the back. And so now Kent has all day to wait for Victor to crash further. 5s is going to clean up 2 blots, but leave the shot with 3s to send a third checker back. And Kent's going to find it now. And now he just is in a rush to get checkers involved with like not allowing Victor to make the deuce, something like that. I don't think with 3 back that there's going to be a lot of trap ideas. I think he's just going to try to bring this home this way now. We'll see though. Kent could try to slot the front here in a lot of cases too and see if he can pick up even more checkers, but I think he's got plenty of time where he is. I like his decision to leave the checker higher there as well, but XG likes 11-3 for some reason. Ace 5 is in and moving again. Exactly what Victor did not want. 2-1. Sure, I like advancing that blot. Get it off the 7, which is something to be cleared later. You'd rather have it in board. 4-2 is going to... It should hit. That's wild. I don't know why we would do that when we could just leave a single shot. Something long-term, or maybe we can establish the... I don't know. That's a weird one. I don't know how a human finds that one. Small stuff anyway, though. And maybe XG doesn't actually understand this all that well, since it's happy to get itself into lots of trouble. Trying to contain 3 checkers in crashed games like this. 6-1. I don't think it makes sense to stay back and pressure that blot anymore. But wow, okay, and he finds the best play. I would have thought to just go and kind of give up on it and be happy with my 3. Victor cleans up safely. And 3-1's going to cover. Once again, I don't see a lot of trap plays happening here, but he could try to cover the outfield and hope to make it more difficult for Victor to get a 6 running once he has to clear the bar. 6-2 just coming all the way around. 6s, okay, that's going to freeze once it comes in. 6-2, I guess we're getting off the 6 point here, I would think. Plays 5-3 for better distribution, though, long term. 6-3 is going to be forced to stack up the 3 now. Okay, things getting a little bit awkward for Kent. Something to be happy about for Victor. 6 is going to fan. 3-2 clears safely. And Victor looking for a 6 as fast as possible. Needs to get that back checker moving. Oh, a 6-5 no less. Beautiful shot for him. That should save a lot of gammons. What can Kent come back with? Oh, that evens out on the back. Very nice. So it looks very robust and unlikely to leave a shot for a long time. That's a good thing in the ace point game for sure. Not that it's so scary against a 1 point board, but that can still be the best way for Victor to save a gammon. Just to buy a little extra time hitting a shot at some point. 6-3, I think just too off. I don't think we need to worry too much about clearing against a 1 point board. 5-4 is going to be forced to run more. And I think Kent's looking to point on head to try to win some gammons here now. Victor's going to pause to think about just cleaning up the blot to the ace, but using the pips outside must save a ton of gammons. I think it's a little too important to use that. And pretty unlikely scenario where there's back and forth and another checker gets involved and that ends up costing us. 5-1 cannot attack. It takes the checker off. And I don't know why that 3-2 instead of 4-3. Nice find, Kent. 5-2. Should it just run and try to save gammon naturally? Yeah, with a weaker board. That's the best way. All the way down to 6% gammon. So most likely going to save it here. Unless Kent can roll some sets. 5-2. Could be 2 crossovers, but they're really awkward and unlikely to get home if we do it that way. Oh, it's not 2 crossovers. Sorry. Either way. But yeah, small difference then. 5-1, just 1 off. Still 2 sets away. Maybe you should play 5-4 for the sets then, I would have thought about. 4 in and 3 gets the crossover. Okay. And 5s is a good set to threaten a gammon here, for sure. So needs Victor to not roll 6-1, 6-2, or sorry, 6-1, 6-5. Oh, 6-1 saves it. Okay. Resigns a single game. And on we go to 7 away, 4 away. Okay, it's going to be a real match now. Kent's getting closer. 3-2 for Victor. Just standard splitting stuff. Victor can find some initial cubes here, but I mean, overall more conservative, but the gammons are going to work a little bit more in his favor and a little less recube fear. So not adjusting as much as he was when he was like massively ahead. Pops out and plays down to make the 11, and Kent will want to play a little more aggressive as well, but not like the 4-away, 2-way kind of stuff. Just doesn't have to worry about the cube coming back to 4 quite as often, so he can get it in a little bit earlier. Hits and makes a point. Beautiful. This might be the right mix of things to send a cube on a fan or something like that, but 3-2 anchors up. Beautiful shot for Victor. Even though he's primed, at least he's not under any like gammon threat really yet. See how Kent follows up. It looks like he's just going to clean up to 13-8 and clean up 9-7. Looks great for distribution, but he is under a lot of pressure to split. Oh, this is an interesting idea. Does Victor even want to come off to hit him? I like that idea. I think it feels like a nice time to challenge him to hit with the 6 if he wants to. I dare you, right? 2-1 is going to... Oh, it should hit loose. That's an interesting one. Leaves a lot of fly shots instead. Could have gone for some tempo game there. 4s. Yeah, so against this 22 point, it's very nice to hold the 9 point. So he has a bit of a dilemma on whether or not he should switch to the 5. How many do we have here? Yeah, he can just make the back and run. Yeah, that's beautiful. Buys him a ton of time to bring home the most natural game of a racing lead against the 22-point anchor. That's well spotted. This is a very common exception to always make the 5 rule. I think it's just way too many shots to hit here, so I would just make the 4 point, I think. Double hit is reasonable, though. Maybe... No, I don't think it has the right mix to be right for money or normal scores either. Definitely wins more and wins more gammons, though. And just gives up a few too many gammons in general. Victor's going to go for it, though. Just doesn't want to die slowly in this kind of position. Here comes a cube from Kent. Oh, he has drawn enough volatility to get this. Very interesting. Should be a pretty easy take, I would think, since it's hard to lose too many gammons. But yeah, I suppose when he gets hit with the 3 here, this can be pretty awkward to bring home. And Victor's going to let this go. Okay, just after that play, I guess, wasn't ready to play this one out either way. Feels like he would have taken the other way, so I'm not sure. That's a very strange one to me. 6 away, 4 away. Just didn't like it, though. I have seen him pass cubes like that plenty, though. Just like not the kinds of games he wants to play. Volatility where he can suddenly be an underdog in a match that he's been winning the entire time. Doesn't like to put the whole match on one game when he can avoid it. Likes to grind people down. 6-4 can point in response to the 5-3. No need to split or run against more of an attacking kind of play. 5s is awkward afterward. 3 down and a spare to the 3, I guess, yeah. And now Victor very much doesn't want to split for a long time. Just wants to play pure. So, I mean, like, down in slot seems strong here. I'm not sure why 13-10 would be better. Interesting. I guess because our opponent really wants to run from the back and we don't want to help him do it. Fours gets to step up and make the 4 point. Huge shot for Kent. Yeah, he's just in total control of this game now with the racing lead and a dead checker behind. Usually the anchor against the deep 24 point can be enough to send a cube. I think match trailing, I think I want to here. This looks good enough to me. Right on the borderline. And of course, there's a lot of work to do with the open 5 point and plenty of wins for Victor here. So we would think about this for money, though. It looks like reasonable even at a normal score to send this. So not a lot of score influence in this one either, even. These are tough ones for me to explain, but I've been like looking at them and studying and trying to remind myself enough that positionally how strong it is to have an advanced anchor against the 24 point. There's not a lot of game plans available to Victor. Well, look at this. He can use the dilly builder to make the deuce point. Maybe that's a little bit better than a priming game plan when we're ahead in the race like this. I like his thought to kind of pause there. 3-2 can't split, but he can bring a spare down, sure. And now he's ready to send it. And now that he's primed as well, Victor actually has a borderline take pass decision. It doesn't look good. He's going to let this one go too, and we're going to move on to 5-way, 4-way. And so Victor jumped away at a 9-point lead and hasn't won a point since. 8 unanswered points for Kent. Kent's going to open with a split now, and at 5-way, 4-way, the cube action is pretty equal both ways. We adjust in a little bit different way on both sides. A little bit less hesitant to send with the lead and more quick to not fear the recube. But then also the gammons are worth so much for Victor that he wants to send pretty aggressively in gammonish positions. 4-1, making an asset seems better than cleaning up the blot, I think. But okay, he's just going to go for the simple idea. Get that out of harm's way. 2-5 can split and play down. We do like the 13-11 to contain a single checker back, though, so it's reasonable to think about that part, too. The tempo of 6 to ace is not something I was looking for, but that came up close on the list as well. 5-2 is a whiff. This one, is there any way we're going for a double hit? I don't think so. We can just stack up the 8s. It seems like too many blots against a better board to play 2 down. Maybe we have to just because everything else is so stiff. I don't know. Very close ideas there. That's a tough one. So no big mistakes available other than leaving too many fly shots out in the outfield. You can see if we play down the 11, then we're leaving our opponent all 7s, 8s, 9s, and 10s. It's just going to be a lot of shots. And so I like this. I think this is what I would go for, too. I just struggle to play the candlesticks game in what's a relatively close race. But Victor going to come in well from that. Sends a checker back. And this is the kind of game for sure as this gets mixed up where Victor can get into gammonish positions for sure and send a cube to threaten to win the match at 4-way, 5-way. 5-1 is going to hit once more and probably just step forward for lack of aces. No need to just get a blot involved anywhere. And now he's got 3 back threatening a 4th. See how Kent performs here. And he fans. Wow, is this enough threat to send it already? This looks ugly. There's going to be a lot of gammons here, and gammons punish more than usual, so this might be even passable for Kent. 15, yeah, so this is close to a pass. This is probably a pass at normal scores and a huge one at this. And Victor's going to find this cube easily, and Kent's just going to snatch it up. We've seen him very willing to play in these kind of volatile positions if the wins are present. Double 3s. This is going to make the 5-point for sure, right? It could hit twice. Yeah, we just let our opponent anchor so much. But, I mean, we could just make both 5 points and kind of be done with it for a roll, too. That's tough. I don't know. I think I would probably just play safe. But look at this. The double hit is good. Okay, we've got some other options, too. If we're going to make the 5-point, we just bring more material in and keep leveraging our board advantage. But just, yeah, preventing the anchor is worth so much more for gammons that we should just go for that. That's a nice find by Victor. They're really, I mean, an ace is okay for Kent, but there's nothing that's super strong after this. So I think that's part of the value, and transitioning to blitz here looks pretty good. We get hit, it's kind of even, but we're actually still ahead in the race and still can play that anchor game that we were looking at previously. So 3-2, I think, wants to continue the attack. 4-3 is going to hit back again, but only with 1. So Victor's still with the tempo, but not as much of a lead as before. Not looking quite as strong. 6-1 can't really do a whole lot either. What does, just pops out to the bar point? Yeah, sure. Could have run to the 16 for a little bit more freedom. Both make sense. And 4-6 is likely to hit back on the bar now. What else can it do? And finally, Kent with a small tempo gain here. Still behind like a slightly better board, but he's anchored in front of it, so it's not much to fear. It feels very even. Victor should be hitting back from the bar with almost everything. 4-1 is something that hits back, yeah. And 2-1, I think this, I mean, we're leaving a ton of shots anyway, yeah, so I feel like just fighting for the point makes some sense here. And we're so likely to be able to establish the 24 or 23 even if we are hit. 2-4 is going to hit again. And so the gammon plan is still going reasonably, just in a different path now. Just 1,000 checkers back, and when this works for Victor, he can win a gammon that way. 5-4, looks like it's going to enter on the 4 and hit loose on the 5 again. I don't think it's better to make the 20 points. I'm not sure. Much better to make the 20 point. Okay. Yeah, that is a nice long-term asset. Now we have 2 points blocked in front of that made point. That makes sense. They're reasonably close on plus plus. But it just feels like having more checkers back doesn't really cost us a whole lot here. And at least we don't make it easy for our opponent to make a simple advanced anchor. We do what we want to at the 10 point. Don't let them just escape with tempo. But okay, it goes for the long-term strategic asset, which is good. Nice find by Kent there. 5-6 is probably going to hit to escape with tempo. Not too worried about timing our opponent up here. Oh, look at this. It actually shouldn't. Better to just like get both the back checkers moving. That makes a lot of sense. But he goes for the double hit to try to prevent another double deep anchor. There's some merit to that. Should win some extra gammons along the way. See what he can follow up with now. 5-2 cannot cover, but it can get the back checkers moving. So I think we're going to make the bar point, and yeah, I would think clean up as well, but we can just go for mobility with no board to worry about from our opponent here. 4-1 gets the hit. Better to just slot, though. That's interesting. We're just not ready to. And that checker's kind of dead on the deuce point there, too. All these kinds of strategic things come up in back games like this. Very interesting stuff. Victor gets to make a landing point. Can't do anything with the back checkers, so maybe... I mean, giving up the anchor is not scary at all here. So we could play 18-14 with it. But the 6-2 a little bit better. 4s. What is this going to do? Can't really do anything with the back checkers either. So I guess we're going to make the 4 on head and play down is probably the best way to do this. Looking for what the most effective pure play is. He's got the slightly better board now. So... a lot of work to do, of course. 5-6 is going to run one of them from the back. Sure, why not the less provocative or the more provocative one? Not likely to be attacked on the deuce, but would definitely be getting hit loose on the 5 quite a bit. 6-5 probably just wants to run from the back for mobility. That would be my idea. That's our biggest liability in this position, is like having 2 extra checkers back on the 21 right now. So even if we get hit, well, maybe they enter somewhere better. We haven't really lost anything, but the upside is we can use this to build our board when it goes well. 5-2. It's a blot behind still. I don't know. I don't mind hitting, but I don't see a strong call for it either. I guess this seems like the best, just trying to get moving. I like that play. 5-3 enters, and what does the 3 get to do? Makes a point for lack of options? Sure. Just getting the back checkers moving seems fine too. 6-4 consolidates 2 blots. Makes another blocking point. Harder to mobilize those extra checkers back on the 20 and 21. So shaping up okay for Victor, but the 2 anchors are going to make it hard to gammon. Ooh, 3-2 is huge for mobility. Gets to park on the 18 point and give him a landing point to escape. He can just hang on to that. Never has to be primed. And just start giving up the points in order now. The 10 and the 13 while he tries to build his board. 4-3 plays 2 down. Could have played 1 in and volunteered. Sure. 3-6. That doesn't get to any of the points we want to make. So I guess... oh, interesting. I would have thought to give up the midpoint or something like that. But okay, this is much better. That surprises me. Nice find. There's some duplication and such. And double fours. Just gets to escape, yeah. I mean, we stack up a point again that we want to clear, so maybe it's better to just come into the 6 or something. Yeah. Close stuff, though. 4-1 finally gets to make the 5-point. Beautiful shot for Kent. And we'll see how this contact goes now. 6-3. Ooh, the 6 is forced to play behind. This is already some sort of shot. I guess we could cover and hit. Is that the best we have, just to slow down our opponent's progress here? Pretty awkward roll that he's found here. And I guess part of why we wanted to find something... Yeah, so why would we want to put another Blotton board when we could just cover the deuce and maybe get some extra fans out of it? Oh, that's a very close option, though. Okay. Can mess up Ken's timing potentially. Ken's going to pause to think about this recube at this score. Very interesting. I feel like this is super close and that there's not enough gammons yet, especially with like so little material in the zone. That we'd rather get into something more threatening. But always we should pause to think about it when it's a recube and we're trailing for sure, because the take point is going to get much higher in general. I think at 5-away, 4-away, I don't remember exactly. It's got to be at least 25% though. It's actually all the way up to 30 though. Yeah, this is one of those more sensitive ones that I think I have in there. And Kent's going to just whip this right now. All right, dead cube for Victor. Wants to make sure he doesn't lose his market. And double twos is going to hit. Wow, this is one where he's going to be happy to have sent for sure. I think we can advance 10-8 and make a more important blocking point there. Last deuce, I don't know, but maybe we need mobility already of 20-18. We can just come down to build, though. Okay. I like that. 3-5 enters, but can't escape. Wow, the 5 looks like a disaster. Has to give up the 8-point, I think, here. This is brutal. Better to cover the ace. That's amazing. How do we find that? I think most humans would do that, and but it gives up a triple shot either way. Wow, I don't understand it. It's just so misplaced there, and we don't have the asset of the ace point, I guess. I don't know for sure. That's a hard one. All right. Things are looking grim for Victor. Wow, and the 5s are going to close another board point, and they don't get to hit the extra checker, but we get to bring some material around, things like this too. So the gammons are getting quite high. We're all the way up to 71%, and a quarter of the time, Kent going to win a gammon for the match. Those gammons are reduced value, of course, now that they're only winning that last point, but they're still worth something, you know? And yeah, after this last 5, I guess 13-8 to get it in there could be fine, but then we give up a 2-6. 2-6 doesn't look bad, yeah. Sure, I like that play. We get shots on the ace when our opponent rolls a 2-6, and we're still hitting that extra blot a lot too. 3-6 is going to fan. Ouch. And things are looking very grim for Victor. After ambitious take and an ambitious redouble, things are really paying off for Kent here. Sure, just maximizes distribution afterward. I like that. And send another checker back. Victor fans again. 3-6. I guess making the 8-point looks valuable here, and then we could come off the 20. $21-12 is an idea, too. Lots of options here. They're all very close. But we just have to be thinking about, of course, we're not really worried about the board. We are worried about mobility and not getting stuck back there. And we want the material in the zone to be able to close out before our opponent can anchor or something like this. Yeah, so I would have thought about the mobility there too, but better just bring checkers closer to attacking, I think is what XG is telling us there with 17-11. 5s doesn't... Oh, it can close the... Yeah, that's a beautiful shot. Gets to close the prime and bring another checker into range of attacking. And yeah, there are going to be a lot of gammons in this game now. Victor still can't enter. Structure just absolutely trash on the other side too, so turnaround's almost impossible. 5 can pop out, 3 can come in for more mobility, or yeah, more numbers I would have thought. Oh, the 5 can't pop out is why he played like that. Okay. 1-6, okay. Hoping to make the 24-point would save a lot of gammons for Victor. So let's see what he can do with this. 6-3 is going to be worth hitting loose, I think, to prevent it. I would attack and still come in 9-6 for it. And aces, wow, what a response for Victor. Comes in, hits twice, and covers the ace point. No need to have another blot involved here. Four, three enters, and I think cleans up the blot to prevent Victor from escaping with tempo. Double twos gets to make the 5-point on head now. I think that's better than blocking structure. And 2-1, so he enters, but not able to anchor. Oop, entered it wrong. So what's his best ace? I don't see a huge difference here. Guess sixes are bad either way, so we can stay on that and make less, don't add the 6-5 by coming down or something like this. And what's the follow-up? A double hit for Victor. Very nice shot for him. Wow, and he's taking his absolute trash position just in a couple rolls here and is like threatening to have the advantage in this game now. Amazing turnaround so far. Four, 1. Does he want to lift the blot is the question. No, he probably wants to split for mobility, even though, I think we can't worry about the gammons too much. I don't know if he needs to yet. Wow, I'm tricked by this one. I don't know. But yeah, it probably makes a lot of sense. He must win the most. Gets gammon a good chunk more. I think the trade-off is probably worth it at normal scores too. But here, when the gammon value is so reduced for just that last point, yeah, it seems worth it. But we don't get the added benefit of winning gammons more often either. So kind of a strange score for that play. 6-1. Still can't cover, but it could hit that checker. Do we want to go for mobility or buy some time by playing 10 to 4 to 3? I think is kind of the question. I think I like this better. If our opponent enters with a 4 and doesn't hit, we're still in a lot of trouble. So, but I don't think we want to leave the 4 to be hit against a strong board. 3-1 fans again. And 6 gets to pop out. 3 still can't cover, so I guess it's just going all the way. 10 to 7 for more covers is an option too, even though it duplicates the 5 out. That's very interesting. Yeah, I think I would do this for sure. Gives us a nice 3 to hit, in addition to the aces and 4s to cover. Just really struggling to cover that blot. 5-5 is going to miss again. 8s, 4s, and 1s to cover. There's the 4. And the 3 gets to hit too. So we could at some point start thinking about picking up less checkers just to win, but I think he needs to pick those up to buy the time to escape that last checker. So here is not the place to start getting fancy. Needs a 5 out. Can't get it. What is the best way to set up here? Does he really want to, yeah, I guess makes 4s a little bit worse. I don't know. The switch did seem reasonable long term. Maybe that's going to be easier to clear when we get away with everything. 5-3 hops out. Beautiful shot for Victor. I think the 3 should get in range of the closeout too, though. Yeah, why not 12 to 9? Interesting. Maybe, I don't think this gets any sets or anything, so I'm not sure about that one. Must have been something weird about it. 5s could have played funny. I don't know. 2-1. Now he wants to bring that to the 9. Interesting. I'm not sure tactically why that one works, but no big differences here. Low on bank too, so probably just making sure he makes a play a lot of the time. 3-1. I don't think it needs to hit loose. I think we can just start bringing checkers in. Into the 5 is a little bit better for some reason. Okay. All tiny tactical stuff. And Victor in the driver's seat to close this match out now. 5-1 can just come around. It could split and give up the double 4s. I don't think we need to, though. I don't think we want to stack up the 8, though. So, yeah, I kind of like this 6 to 5 idea. What is he? Oh, he finds 3 to 2. Yeah, both those similar ideas. Keep some distribution to maybe close out the 4-point when his opponent doesn't enter. And is rewarded with a 5-2. Beautiful shot. All right, and that should be about lights out for for Kent, I do believe. That was a wild last game indeed. Both checkers deep, but everything's nice and even, so very unlikely to leave a shot. Kent doesn't look like he's having as much fun anymore. 5-1, I think maximum safety is to clear the 5-point here when we have our spares so deep like this. I like that decision. 5-1 enters one. And if Kent can get a hit, he can still definitely win this game with pure structure that he's got. 5-4 clears from the rear, but it leaves a lot of shot levers next time. Anything combos of 3s, 6s is going to be about do it, though. Okay. That's a win for Victor. It's amazing. That was a pretty crazy one indeed. Maybe we can switch to a scene where I can look at the match progression a little bit here. But, yeah, good game from them both. You can look at the summary overall. Pretty well played there. You know, I think Victor may be disappointed to not play a 2 in general. I'm not sure what Kent averages, but he had kind of, I think early in the match was a little rougher. He had some fun cube action in that last game too, but overall playing under a 6 is pretty strong too. Didn't seem like he just like overlooked anything or anything crazy like that. Pretty wild match there. Let's see if we can look at the, yeah, that's a pretty funny one. So in game 10 here, we went from, yeah, I got to find a way to share that. No, not there. Let's see. Sure. We'll do this and we'll drag this over real quick. So this is the match progression. I mean, that's completely crazy. That, you can close this off too if I want. But yeah, so game 10 here. We start, you know, in basically 50-50 land. You know, it's a small advantage for Victor. And it climbs up, down, up, down. We're like around the 50. And then all of a sudden Kent's all the way up to like high or like, yeah, mid 80s to win the match. And we plummet all the way down to Victor taking it in the end. But everything else, you know, yeah, of course, it kind of like got ground down and slowly ground his way back in. But this is it. Just in one game, we see all these, like the rest of the match looks very normal compared to game 10. Crazy stuff. So pretty wild one indeed. Thanks for watching that with me. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And yeah, go check out the rest of the matches and commentary that we did from the Cherry Blossom 2. I'm really proud of the work that our whole team did there. And I don't know if we'll take more of these and split them out into videos, but for now you can see all those matches there with a whole bunch of commentary, transcription by me, and really cool videos by Blunderblots on there too. So yeah, you can support us by getting more views on those. Really appreciate that. And people in the tournament for sure were really excited about it. So yeah, this is interesting too on this match progression. There's not a whole lot of green for Kent on here, right? Like, small advantage in the first game, and then just it's the Victor show until like a brief moment in the last game, and then it's the Victor show again. That's a tough one. But all right, thanks for watching. Please do subscribe to the channel if you like all this stuff too. That helps me out a ton. And I'll be playing the Chicago Open next week. I don't know how many more videos I'll have before then, but yeah. Bye, everybody.